What an awesome day for a rally. You know, we wouldn't be here today. Andy started this a year ago today. We've come a long way since many of us stood in this exact same spot. At that time, we knew we were mad. We knew we needed change, but we didn't have much in place. Now we've officially formed and organized. We've been around for about a year. Some of you might want to know, who are we and what do we do? What have we done? Well, we're not about parties or politics. The labels and the letters behind the name are really irrelevant. What we care about is information and accountability and involvement. Towards that end, we've done quite a bit. In the summer, we had a voter registration drive at the Pleasant Hill Fire Company Carnival. We participate with the Church of Christ of Hanover Food Bank to do a drive for charity, because we believe we should look after our own. It's not the job of government to take care of us. We take care of ourselves without heavy-handed government mandates, without government forcibly taking from some of us and giving to others. We also hold our monthly meetings. In the course of the speakers tonight, if you want to walk along here, we have our membership information. There's food for sale over there. But we're doing a lot. We held a Get Out the Vote rally prior to the midterm elections. Some of our guest speakers that are here today were with us then. Will Tallman, Dan Mao, Congressman Platts joined us. He should be out here today. But don't let that confuse you. While we work with our candidates, we never formally endorse them, even when they are from among our ranks. The Hanover Tea Party Patriots will always act on behalf of you, the people, the governed, not the establishment. We do not want to become the very same thing that we are setting out to change. Today you'll see a lot of opportunities to pick things up, constitutions, stickers, t-shirts, and so on, and in return we might ask for a small donation. One thing I want to make perfectly clear, because even though it should be understood, politicians don't always make this promise or make it clear to people. Any donations that we collect immediately go back towards our efforts in the community. They go towards flags, towards bottled water, towards more constitutions, towards tables and materials needed, office equipment, things to help us carry out our mission statement. Now, there's been a lot said about the Tea Party in the media, and our enemies, some of whom might even be with us today, would like to paint us as radicals and extremists. We are neither. We're members of your community. We're parents and teachers and business owners, preachers and students, construction workers and professionals and homemakers. We are you. We are citizens like you that have had enough. It's time to get off the couch, get off the sidelines, and join us. Join us in our fight to preserve and defend our liberty. This is hard for many people to accept, but our country is changing, and not for the better. The answer nowadays always seems to be more government, and not less of it. And usually, government is the problem to begin with. So we're here to protest taxes, and let me give you a few quick facts about them. If you have a job, you realize you work from January 1st through April 12th, 3 full months, just to pay for your 2010 federal, state, and local taxes. You pay more a year in taxes than you do for food, clothing, and shelter combined, according to Tax Foundation. You've worked 104 days this year just to meet the obligations the politicians have piled on you. So when they gush about all the things they do for you, remember, you're the one footing the bill. And remember this too, the wealthiest 1% of Americans pay 30% of the federal tax, the top 10% pay 68%, and the bottom 50% just get 3%. So you know most of that burden falls on us. Honestly, though, we're not about taxes so much. It's about spending. The runaway, out-of-control, selfish, irresponsible, corrupt, special interest, pork-filled, kickback-laden, drug addict-like spending. How much of that spending goes towards things our government has no business funding? Billions and billions of dollars in foreign aid to countries that hate us, all the money in the corrupt entitlement system, the rise and rapid growth of the government's so-called alphabet soup agencies, the FCC, FDA, ATF, EPA, IRS, HSA, HUD, FEMA. Not only are these massive, expensive, ineffective, bloated government bureaucracies, but they aren't just sitting there idly by doing nothing. They reach further and further every day into aspects of our lives where government has no business. Think about your daily life. The food you eat has a government stamp. The car you drive has a government stamp. The house you own is really a government-backed loan you make payments to. Your schooling, our kids' education is government stamped. Our news and entertainment, the state now directly controls or sponsors or regulates pretty much everything we watch, do, say, eat, or use. Make no mistake about it. We're under attack from every corner of government at all levels in all aspects of our lives. Liberty is not lost overnight. It is taken away in slow, systematic increments, piece by piece, and always it's done under the guise of things that are in our own best interest. Well, no thank you. I'd rather keep my money and freedom. I'd rather not have my 4-year-old daughter patted down by the TSA in the airport by thugs in the name of safety. When we trade away our liberties in the name of safety from terrorism, only to be subjected to another form of terrorism from our own government. There is a proper role for government, though. That proper role is spelled out specifically and in one document only, the U.S. Constitution. Does the country we live in today bear any kind of resemblance to what it's supposed to be? Where's the balance between states' rights and federal authority? So now we see the nature of the fight that we're in. So let me ask you a question. What have you done for the cause of liberty today? Well, you might say in return, I'm out here right now, aren't I? And that's a good start. We like to say the Tea Party is history happening now. Believe it. We are the people. But we have much more to do than just protest, than to just show up. We have to inform ourselves, arm ourselves with information, and let them know we're watching. One thing we know for sure, we can no longer rely on the traditional two-party system to provide us with solutions. We need more options, more forces for real good, for real effective reforms. We don't need things like a so-called compromise. What our genius Congress has just agreed to, the so-called budget, is the same as if an average family that were in grave fiscal danger came together and agreed to cut $4.76 spending out of their budget for the next 6 months. That's the equivalent of this compromise they just passed. That's 79.3 cents savings a month. It's time our so-called leaders started taking a broadsword to these bloated budgets, not scalpels. But predictably, any time cuts are proposed, the media picks up the crying and the wailing and gnashing of teeth. The Republicans want to kill puppies and starve babies and torture the old. This is part of a false narrative that we have to fight. Our freedom, our liberty, is directly under threat from our current economic situation. It poses a national security risk, with the bottom dropping out on the dollar, China calling in its debt. At the least, what future our children, my kids and your kids and our grandkids, what future they face when they look at that huge dark shadow of debt looming on the horizon? Ronald Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day, we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. The government has all sorts of Trojan horses by which they try to redistribute wealth. Climate change, cap and tax, healthcare, welfare entitlement, foreign aid. But this is inherently anti-American. America is not about redistributing wealth or property. It's not about handouts or reparations or affirmative action or socialized anything, no matter what claims about equity, fairness they make. America is founded on equal opportunity, the rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Not happiness itself, and not equal outcomes. You get the same shot as anyone else to improve your lot, to maybe take a risk, to work hard and apply yourself and make something of yourself. Currently, 53% of us pay for the other 47% of us, and that number is sliding in the wrong direction. When you or the government gives something to somebody for nothing, you really take away from them. You take away their dignity, their drive, their ambition, their creativity, their resourcefulness, their incentive, and their motivation. It's an insult. This is what liberals never understand. People get stronger and become independent by being encouraged, not by being enabled and artificially propped up. But yes, we do recognize there's a small percentage of the country that is truly in need of charity, and for that there is a proper role. Our government is broken, and it's mostly bought and paid for. The media's in the tank. People are distracted by the phony shams of choice they present. We're all becoming grossly dependent on the ever-increasing nanny state. It grows in size, scope, power, cost, influence, and corruption every day. We have a last few hopes: the Constitution of the United States, the Tea Party movement. But the Constitution, implemented as it was intended with the real limits on government and checks and balances, can save us. Specifically, the Bill of Rights and the 10th Amendment. Because by reasserting the sovereignty and rights of the United States independently, we counteract the creeping influence of global corporatism and nanny state fascism. Together, the Constitution and the free market system have done more to advance humanity, the quality of life, the cause of liberty around the world than any other. It has done more for peace, health, science, art, medicine, technology, communication, interest of advancing the human species than any other. And that's thanks to our Constitution and the free market economy. That's what sets us apart and makes us an exceptional country. Government does not have your best interest in mind. You are a means to an end. Corporations may not be much better, but at least they have to answer to a bottom line, to their investors, to the laws of supply and demand. Government, on the other hand, will change and break and create new rules to suit their own twisted, power-hungry purposes. Sam Adams said, "It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men." And that is what we are, or what we must become. That is the spirit in which we must unite and work under. But how can so few people really make a difference? We can. Across this town, throughout the country, people are sitting in their homes right now, watching the news, on the internet, feeling frustrated, feeling impotent, feeling alone, without a voice, without an outlet. They want to do something, but they don't know where to start. Well, we are the starting point. We can provide them with a spirit of community, a spirit of camaraderie, solutions. We can channel these principles, these beliefs into actions. Each of us. Everyone doing the little bit within our scope of power. Talk to people, we spread the word. We get the word out there on the street. We hang out flyers. We sacrifice a little bit of time and money and energy, anything that might otherwise go into our home or jobs or family. That's what the fight for freedom will take. And in the larger context, I want you to think for a minute. Think about those who have given everything for freedom, who've given their lives, their limbs. What we will give here as individuals, as a group, is really not that much. A couple hours, a few bucks, hold up a sign. We don't ask for a lot, but every little bit is important. The Constitution that you hand to your 18-year-old nephew might form and shape the man who later becomes a senator or a congressman or the President of the United States. What we do matters. At heart, our group and our work is not about left versus right, but right versus wrong. As Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Or as Thomas Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Well, we're not silent any longer. This battle isn't just a political one, it's a moral one. A battle for hearts and minds. The British are not just coming, they're already here. It's time to fight, it's time to get involved. Thank you.
Thank you.